Just between us, science and the NHS run on homemade cake, and here is the patient who made both the cake and also a little bit of history. One of the first people to be given a cancer vaccine for bowel cancer, and today is the last day of his treatment. Steve has already had most of his colon removed because of aggressive cancer. But because his disease was so serious, he's an ideal candidate for this new treatment.
I think if I'd have known that I was at the highest risk of this coming back, but wasn't having any further treatment, I'd just be waiting for that moment when it comes back. Whereas now I've got that extra security that actually, I am part of this amazing trial.
And after cake and hugs and a morning being tested and chatted to and just waiting around, here is the final injection. 2 groundbreaking doses of a tiny 1.3 millilitres of vaccine delivered over about 5 minutes. A sample from Steve's tumour was sent to a lab and the cells and DNA analysed. This analysis reveals mutations that cause the cancer to make abnormal proteins not found in healthy cells. Scientists can use this information to make a vaccine designed to train Steve's immune system to recognise and attack cancer cells. Steve's own immune system is being taught to hunt down the remaining cancer cells and even stop the disease from returning in the future. This is technically their day off, but Steve's doctors promised to be here for his last round of treatment. It is very exciting, but this is a medical trial, and now it's a waiting game.
We would be monitoring him, doing CT scans, doing blood tests, monitoring him in clinic, making sure he's fine, looking at symptoms, and then at the end of the study period, then hopefully discharge him back to his GP, and we would assume at that end of that study period that that's it. He's all cured and nothing will come back.
This trial, doctors and patients like Steve have the potential to one day completely change how we treat cancer. David Gregory-Kumar, BBC Midlands Today, Birmingham.
You have to be at the highest risk of your cancer returning. And so I had that phone call to say I still had the tumour DNA in my blood. I was in that top 5% category, and I would be going forward to the trial. Now, at this point, it didn't necessarily mean I was going to get the vaccine, but it took place. And eventually I had the phone call from one of the nurses while I sat at home, and they broke the good news that I was indeed to become the second person at the time in the UK to be accepted onto this cancer vaccine trial period. And for the first few doses as well, I was getting quite severe side effects. So the very first dose, I had a very high temperature, was shaking uncontrollably after 4 hours, and that did subside, after sort of 3 or 4 hours, but it was pretty unpleasant. And so that was happening every Friday, for the first 6 weeks. After that, it then dropped to every other week, and it seemed like a fantastic thing to be part of. Really incredible piece of work and very exciting. It's a funny thing to process because you're on the trial because you're at the highest risk of it coming back. But to be on the trial itself would be a really positive thing.
So what we're doing now, re-educating the immune system, buffing it up a little bit more so that it can attack the cancer should the cancer come back. Curative treatment, the test of curative treatment, its effectiveness, it's in the future rather than immediately. What you're looking at is stopping the cancer from coming back in the future. So you don't know for sure if the treatment you've given has worked yet or not. So it's only by waiting that you'll be able to see if this has done the job or not. What we now have are tools that we can use to sequence patients, to look at the tumor, the mutations, understand the immune system better. And by so doing, then we can use the vaccines, we can harness the power of the vaccines to improve outcomes and to actually combat the disease.